And Griffin at the Pentagon, I know working the phones, sometimes phones mid-live shot, as getting more information about what has transpired here. Jennifer, thoughts?
Well, Brett, I think, yes, so my phone has been literally ringing off the hook. But what I would say is that it's notable how much deception was involved in this operation. All eyes were looking west towards Guam and the B-2s that took off late last night towards Guam. It's possible that, but if the distance there would suggest that the B-2s may have also flown east from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. Remember, the air refuelers, many of them were placed in Europe and across the Middle East, and that is what is known as an air refueling bridge. And all of those B-2s would require much air refueling in order to make it. They usually fly round trip from Whiteman. And so what we can say, and the president said this in his Truth Social post, is that a full payload of bombs, those massive ordnance penetrators, the 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs, were dropped at Fordo. And as we have reported, there are two entrances to Fordo. So at least two bombs at each two entrances, which suggests at least two B-2s were involved over Fordo. My suspicion is that there were more. And then you have the two other sites, Natanz, which also has an underground enrichment facility. The Israelis had not been able to reach or take out that facility despite the last 10 days of bombing. And so now U.S. warplanes, likely another B-2 bomber, had dropped that MOP, the 30,000-pound bunker buster, on Natanz. And then you also have Isfahan, a third site south of Tehran. And that is also a very significant enrichment facility. So those B-2 bombers, it's possible that as everybody was looking west for the B-2s flying towards Guam, that in fact there was another package of squadron of B-2s that were flying east from Whiteman. It's about a 15-hour trip from Whiteman in Missouri to the Middle East, to Iran. And those bombers often fly round trip, and it takes them about 30 hours to get home. But they are out of danger tonight. They are not in Iranian airspace anymore, according to the president. The other thing I can point out, Brett, is that this is an operation in the last 18 years since I've been at the Pentagon. I've never seen such operational security. There was nobody speaking about this, any of the preparations. There was a complete lockdown, almost a blackout of information for the last few days. I'm sitting here in the Pentagon right now. I can tell you the hallways are empty, and all of the information is coming right now out of the White House. That is a significant achievement because there were no leaks about the timing. Now, sometimes I think those who, a lot of the flight trackers, the open source intelligence flight trackers, that flight radar did indicate some of when the B-2s took off from Whiteman. But again, nobody really expected that it would take place this evening. If you looked at the moon schedule, you might have had a clue because it was a waning crescent and almost a new moon on the 25th. So it would have been very, very dark over Iran tonight, and you need that in order to bomb. That's the ideal condition for something like a B-2 that is, yes, it's stealth, but it still has to be escorted in case any Iran were to put up any planes or there were any opportunities to fire on those B-2s, which are such valuable and very, very special planes. Only the U.S. military has this kind of weaponry and this capability. No other country in the world could have carried off what occurred tonight at those three uranium enrichment sites in